Huawei launched the Pura 90 Pro Max last month, and let's be honest, the first thing everyone notices is that striking orange sea color. It perfectly matches the Pura series' stylish identity. But in today's ultra-competitive smartphone market, looks alone aren't enough. A true flagship needs serious power too. And that's exactly what Huawei is aiming for. This phone packs a 200-megapixel telephoto camera, X-MAGE selfie technology, 3D dynamic photos, AI pose suggestions, a variable aperture main camera, second-generation macro imaging, and even a telephoto extender co-developed with a partner brand. We actually spent extra time testing its cameras because we wanted to see if these features really deliver. And after using it extensively, this phone definitely shows its strengths. Big thanks to my tech partner over in China for providing this footage. I really appreciate the support in making this video happen. Hey everyone, Stella here from techiestreet. If you're into staying updated with the newest gadgets, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our latest tech content. But before the cameras, let's talk about that orange sea finish. I already know what many of you are thinking. Online photos sparked a lot of debate, but in person, it looks much lighter and more refined. The gradient feels smoother, and the frame perfectly matches the back panel, giving the phone a premium, unified look. Honestly, I haven't seen many phones pull this off so well. Place it beside other flagship camera phones and the differences in design and size stand out immediately. Of course, color is personal. Some people will love this fresh, bold look, while others may prefer something classic. Luckily, Huawei gives you options, including sunset purple, dawn gold, and keystone black. That said, most people will buy this phone for one reason: the cameras. The Pura series has built its reputation on imaging, and this phone continues that tradition. We'll show comparison samples later and take a closer look at the 200-megapixel telephoto camera. Its RYYB sensor performs brilliantly, and the 20x video zoom is seriously impressive. For everyday users, though, I think the biggest upgrade is the X-MAGE selfie camera. Photography enthusiasts may think they don't need AI help, but Huawei clearly designed this feature for regular users. The goal is simple: help anyone take better photos, even with zero photography skills. The idea is easy. Follow the phone's suggestions, tap the shutter button, and let the system handle the rest. The X-MAGE selfie camera recognizes the scene automatically and recommends the best settings and styles. You simply point and shoot. What surprised me most is the pose recommendation feature. We've all been in that awkward moment when we don't know how to pose for a photo. The Pura 90 Pro Max can analyze the scene and suggest poses that are more likely to look great. That's technology genuinely making life easier. Another cool feature is 3D dynamic photos. You've probably seen those cinematic bullet time shots before. Normally, creating them requires expensive equipment and lots of effort. Huawei makes it incredibly simple. With one tap, eligible photos can instantly become 3D dynamic images. In our testing, as long as the subject stands out clearly, the feature works really well. The animations look surprisingly realistic. They may not match professional multi-camera setups, but for a smartphone and social media sharing, the results are more than impressive. Now, let's move to the hardware, because this is always the exciting part. The second-generation red rainbow imaging comes standard, and color reproduction remains excellent. No matter what you shoot, colors stay accurate and balanced, and Huawei's tuning produces great images right out of the camera. One feature I especially want to highlight is the 10-stop variable aperture. Huawei is still one of the few brands committed to this technology. Some may call it a marketing feature, but in real-world photography, I genuinely think it still offers meaningful advantages. Here's a simple example. When you're quickly photographing books, notes, or documents, many phones with large apertures blur the text around the edges. The Huawei Pura 90 Pro Max handles this much better. The entire image stays sharp and clear. That's why I still believe variable aperture has real value. It gives you something that feels impossible: a wide depth of field with crisp edge detail. Another area where Huawei still dominates is telephoto macro photography. This has always been one of its biggest strengths because it can focus incredibly close. If you enjoy gardening or love capturing tiny details, this phone is a fantastic companion. We'll skip insects and use fabrics instead, but even these samples show just how impressive the macro capabilities really are. Now, let's get to the main event. Huawei has seriously upgraded the camera system by adding a huge 200-megapixel telephoto camera. You might be thinking, haven't we seen 200-megapixel telephoto cameras before? Yes, but this one is different. Huawei's RYYB 200-megapixel telephoto camera is in a league of its own. For the first time, we're looking at a massive 1.128-inch telephoto sensor. That's huge for a 200-megapixel camera. Combine that with Huawei's RYYB technology, and low-light performance gets a major boost. Add Huawei's image processing, and even shooting birds at 20x zoom becomes surprisingly easy. But the improvements don't stop there. The Pura 90 Pro Max also introduces chip-level 200-megapixel raw domain real-time processing. The name sounds complicated, but here's what matters. It keeps telephoto videos incredibly clear, even when heavily zoomed in. Normally, I avoid going beyond 10x on most telephoto phones because quality drops fast. Here, it's different. At 20x zoom, the footage still looks clean and usable. Even without a teleconverter, capturing distant subjects feels much easier than expected. Speaking of teleconverters, Huawei also introduced a teleconverter photography kit integrated with its AI ecosystem. Once attached, the focal length extends to an incredible 324 millimeters. We tested it at a live concert, and the results were impressive. Photos looked sharp, and the color reproduction closely matched the actual stage lighting and atmosphere. Huawei even paid attention to audio recording. Instead of removing crowd noise completely, the system keeps the energy of the environment while making the main audio source clear. The result feels much more natural. During testing, something became obvious. At first glance, this looks like just another phone with a 200-megapixel telephoto camera. But after spending time with it, you realize Huawei has combined RYYB sensors and advanced imaging algorithms in a way that genuinely makes a difference. Low-light photos improve, and high-zoom videos stay noticeably clearer. Part of that improvement likely comes from the upgraded Kirin 9030S processor. It seems heavily optimized for imaging. From smarter scene recognition to better color processing and improved zoom stabilization, everything feels more refined than before. That's a huge reason why the Pura 90 Pro Max delivers such a big leap in image quality. Now, after talking so much about cameras, there's another question to answer. If imaging is this good, what about gaming? So we launched Genshin Impact. Running at maximum settings for 30 minutes, the phone maintained a stable 60 FPS with surprising ease. Huawei also introduced the Harmony OS version of Genshin Impact, so naturally we tried that too. With everything maxed out, exploring the open world felt smooth and responsive. No noticeable stutters, no lag. Honestly, it performed better than we expected. Before wrapping up, there are a few extra details worth mentioning after 2 weeks of use. One is the built-in borderless light theme. Just long press the lock screen and the wallpaper transforms into a dynamic frosted glass effect that changes based on your surroundings. It almost feels like Huawei's version of a transparent phone. It may not add functionality, but it definitely creates a unique and enjoyable experience. Another highlight is the anti-reflective and scratch-resistant Kunlun glass. During 2 weeks of testing and constant travel, this phone went everywhere with us. And honestly, I'm not gentle with my phones. Yet after all this time, the display still has 0 scratches. Some people might say 2 weeks isn't enough, but many phones pick up marks after just a weekend. When you're constantly switching devices, that becomes incredibly annoying. That's why I'd gladly choose the Pura 90 Pro Max. A phone that naturally resists scratches and doesn't make you worry about screen protectors is simply more enjoyable to use. So that's our experience after about half a month with the Huawei Pura 90 Pro Max. It absolutely earns its reputation as a flagship imaging smartphone.
Hardware-wise, you get a massive 200-megapixel telephoto camera, variable aperture, red peak imaging technology, and telephoto expansion. On the software side, you get X-MAGE selfie features, 3D dynamic photos, and major algorithm upgrades. Whether you're shooting food, wildlife, or live concerts, this phone performs exceptionally well. Edge detection is excellent, zoom stabilization is impressive, and even live photo colors remain highly accurate. And then there's the price. Despite rising storage costs, Huawei has kept pricing surprisingly competitive. In fact, equivalent storage models are around 500 to 1,000 yuan cheaper than some rivals, making the Pura 90 Pro Max a seriously tempting option. And that's it for today's video. What do you think about the Pura series imaging capabilities? Let us know in the comments and live chat. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.